Toleration and Liberalism. Speech of the American Legion, October 6, 1924. The bringing together of all these different national, racial, religious, and cultural elements has made our country a kind of composite of the rest of the world, and we can render no greater service than by demonstrating the possibility of harmonious cooperation among so many various groups. Every one of them has something characteristic and significant of great value to cast into the common fund of our material, intellectual, and spiritual resources. The war brought a great test of our experiment in amalgamating these varied factors into a real nation with the ideals and aspirations of a united people. None was excepted from the obligation to serve when the hour of danger struck. The event proved that our theory had been sound. On a solid foundation of national unity, there had been erected a superstructure which in its varied parts had offered full opportunity to develop all the range of talent and genius that had gone into its making. Well nigh all the races, religions, and nationalities of the world were represented in the armed forces of this nation, as they were in the body of our population. No man's patriotism was impugned or service questioned because of his racial origin, his political opinion, or his religious convictions. We must not, in times of peace, permit ourselves to lose any part from the structure of patriotic unity. I make no plea for leniency towards those who are criminal or vicious, or open enemies of society, and are not prepared to accept the true standards of our citizenship. By tolerance, I do not mean indifference to evil. I mean respect for different kinds of good. Whether one traces his Americanisms back 3 centuries to the Mayflower or 3 years to the steerage is not half so important as whether his Americanism of today is real and genuine. No matter by what various crafts we came here, we are all now in the same boat. If we are to have that harmony, tranquility, that union of spirit, which is the foundation of real national genius and national progress, we must all realize that there are true Americans who did not happen to be born in our section of the country, who do not attend our place of religious worship, and are not of our racial stock, or who are not proficient in our language. If we are to create on this continent a free republic and an enlightened civilization that will be capable of reflecting the true greatness and glory of mankind, it will be necessary to regard these differences as accidental and unessential. We shall have to look beyond the outward manifestations of race and creed. Divine providence has bestowed upon not any race a monopoly of patriotism and character. The same principle that is necessary to apply to the attitudes of mind among our own people, it is also necessary to apply to the attitude of mind among the different nations. During the war, we were required not only to put a strong emphasis on everything that appealed to our own national pride, but an equally strong emphasis on that which tended to disparage other peoples. There is an intensive cultivation of animosities and hatreds and enmities together with a blind appeal to force that took possession of substantially all the peoples of the earth. Of course, these minister to the war spirit. They supply the incentive for destruction, the motive for conquest. But in times of peace, these sentiments are not helps, but endurances. They are not constructive. The generally expressed desire of America first cannot be criticized. It is a perfectly correct aspiration for our people to cherish. But the problem which we have to solve is how to make America first. It cannot be done by the cultivation of national bigotry, arrogance, or selfishness. Hatred, jealousies, and suspicions will not be productive of any benefits in this direction. Here again we must apply the rule of toleration, because there are other peoples whose ways are not our ways, and whose thoughts are not our thoughts. We are not warranted in drawing the conclusion that they are not adding nothing to the sum of civilization. We can make little contribution to the welfare of humanity on the theory that we are superior people and all others are inferior people. We do not need to be too loud in the assertion of our own righteousness. It is true that we live under the most favorable circumstances, but before we come to the final and irrevocable decision that we are better than everybody else, we need to consider that what we might do if we have their provocations and their difficulties. We are not likely to improve our own condition or help humanity very much until we come to the sympathetic understanding that human nature is about the same everywhere, that it is rather evenly distributed over the surface of the earth, and that we are all united in a common brotherhood. We can only make America first in the true sense, which that means by cultivating a spirit of friendship and goodwill, by the exercise of virtues of patience and forbearance, by being plenteous in mercy, and through progress at home and healthiness abroad.